So back in my main code here. So we have fireball, and then so we'll make a fireball timer as well. Now let's go down here. So we have a fireball, and then fireball timer is going to be a new timer, and we'll say 2000 is how frequently it can fire. And we just tell the timer to start. So it's already fired off. So that means as soon as the boss appears, it can fire, and then every 2 seconds or 2000 milliseconds it will be able to fire again. So right now we have the boss here when the boss is active, and what we want to do inside of that is we can just simply say if fireball timer dot complete. Again, this is just very much like what we did with the projectiles, and then we'll say and fireball dot active is false. So when those two conditions are true, then we can tell the fireball. So again, notice the fireball is now not going to have a chance to fire or be active unless the boss is active, because we don't want random fireballs just shooting across the screen. All right, and now we named it fireball, so fb.fire. Now let's go back into the fireball class. The fireball class, we do need to modify this a little bit, I forgot. So we're passing in the starting X and starting Y and the starting width and starting height. So that is the boss information. And we're then going to set our X and Y just like we did with the projectiles to the center of the object. But now what we want to do inside the fireball class under this fire is we don't want to use the mouse. Instead, what we want to do is go the player's Y and the player's X. So we're passing in those two values to calculate the angle. So instead of the angle between where the mouse is and the player, which is how we did it before, this time we're doing it between the player and the Y. So now that we've updated that fire method, so we pass in, we have to remember the sequence that we're passing in there, where we're passing in the boss's location and the boss's size. So it's boss, not box, boss.x, boss.y, boss.w, boss.h. So we're passing in those values when we choose fire, and then we need to tell the fireball timer to start over. If we don't do that, then timer will stay complete, and then we'll just end up where it's just effectively machine gun firing. So the nice part, because we borrowed from the projectile, when the projectile goes off screen, it's no longer active, so it resets itself back to false, so that it will then be eligible to firing. So we're kind of two things. The timer has to be complete and active has to be false. And then once those two things happen, we're able to see it. So now what we really want to do is go if fb.active is true, and inside there, that's where we will tell our fireball to display itself. So it looks like I missed, I forgot a closing, I lost a closing curly after that. So if that goes to there, that goes to there. A variable of fireball. Oh, it's not fireball. FB, sorry. There we go. Let's reset that. Okay, see, this is why auto formatting and indents and closing comments are so important. Putting in extra white space can be useful too, so now I can see. So we have player, then we have boss, then we have fireball, then we have enemy. So we have it all set in that regard. So let's cross our fingers here. We hit play, moves along, and I'm going to move so that, and now we can see, hey, look, and it's kind of shooting. It's trying to find me. And apparently we glitched off screen with the boss. Okay. So, let's see. So we somehow glitched off screen with it. So we have our X's, our widths, our heights. I'm wondering if it hit in the corner, so it did a double bounce on it. Oh, it's still shooting. No, we don't have any fire intersect going on. Yeah, so we're trapped there at the edge, apparently. Now he's slowly working his way back up. There we go, and now it's back on screen. So it must have glitched at the screen. One way to work with that would be to just modify this a little bit more. So we put a little more padding in. But we can see how it is now targeting. Oh, I want to be over here. So it's roughly targeting where the player is. Okay. Alright, so glitches like that, sometimes we just need to pad that distance a little bit more so we can't get quite as close to the edge, because based on how it's moving. Now we'll notice it's not intersecting yet because we didn't put that in. If we go back into all of our different intersects that we currently have projectile and boss, player, pickup, projectile enemy, and player enemy. So what we probably need are 2 more options for intersects on here to wrap this up, and then we will have the bulk of our gameplay done, and then we just will look at how we can add in our game camera as well as states. So in these final parts, we'll just copy this, paste twice. So we have projectile and boss, then I want player and boss, and finally I want player and fireball. So now we have, so projectile boss we already had. So now it's the player and the boss and the player and the fireball. That's what we want to add in to wrap this up as we figure out our intersects. So we might as well, we're doing some variant of this. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'll just put it at the end of the boss here first. Now that's going to give me an error, so I want player and fireball, or FB. Or is it fireball player? Gotta remember which way. Player fireball and player boss. Okay, so we just gotta remember the order that we're passing those in. Oh, I deleted a parenthesis, that's why it was grumpy. So if player fireball, we're going to subtract, oh, I don't know. We'll make the fireball more damaging than my own projectiles. So we'll say it's 50. And then once we get hit, fb.active is false. Now we're going to, this will be end fireball, intersect. Now let's do a boss one as well. So copy, paste, paste. Now this time it is player and boss. Now this time we're just going to go -1 because we don't make the boss go inactive. So it's going to make it die really, really fast. I'm going to temporarily disable the fireball one so we can just see the boss one happen. Okay. Forgot that we have to do one more thing. So if we remember, the boss is sitting right here. So notice how my health just disappeared right away. So what we need to do is, if the rectangle of the intersect of player and boss is true and the boss is active, because we don't want to be checking this if they're not active, because otherwise, well, look, I lost health as soon as the game started. And then we'll go and fb.active. So only when it's active do we want that to, put that on the wrong side of that parenthesis. So let's cut that out of there, go here, paste. Okay, now that's there, test again. Now my health didn't start dying right away, but the boss did reappear. And we are working on the boss intersect. So if I go here into the boss, let's see, every time the boss is on top of me, my health goes away very fast. Okay, so that's working. Now let's set the fireball up. Oh, we probably have to take out the bad guy first. And fireball, because my health was all the way down, it killed me right away. So we proved, yeah, fireball is damaging. Boom. Look at that, half my health. Boom. All right, and now I reset. All right, so we have made it work where we have the fireball and boss that are intersecting the player, affecting our health. The fireball is shooting in the general direction of the player. It's happening, every 2 seconds or so. If the fireball is inactive, that it will fire off, so that's good. The fireball animates, so we've accomplished all of that. So our next stage is to add in a game camera. So we have our playable area is that we see is smaller than our entire game world. And then finally we will finish up by adding in game states. Good luck and happy coding.